Second path factor, Sammā Saṅkappa, right intention. The Buddha gave 3 aspects to right intention. Harmlessness, non-aversion, non-hatred is the first. The Buddha often spoke in these negatives. It's not love, but it's non-hatred, non-aversion. I find that really powerful and important and potent teaching, because it's an acknowledgement pointing to the fact that if we notice, and it's not saying it's wrong to have aversion, it's wrong to have hatred in the heart. It's really saying we can see this as a problem, we can see this as not right intention, and we can be aware of it. So if there's aversion, we jump on it, notice it, and we have the intention to let that diminish, to not feed that, to not nourish that. Whatever thoughts and feelings grow hatred for us, we mindfully put them aside. Or if they come up, we don't follow them, we incline in a different direction, incline towards harmlessness, non-hatred. So non-aversion is our work. Our work is to see aversion when it arises and to be willing to stay with that, feel the suffering of that, bring it home and allow it to arise, to last for however long it lasts, and then it will pass away when the time's right. So it's to contain harmfulness, it's to contain aversion, to contain hatred, and not to let them leak out towards others, or even towards ourselves, not to add. If this person comes along and I feel aversion, it's disappointing, but there it is. Not to add to our suffering. We're already suffering. We're already deluded. We're already experiencing negativity. We're suffering. There may be feelings of disappointment. There may be feelings of self-chastisement. I should not be feeling like this. This is really so immature. What's the matter with me? I've been practicing all these years. I'm still full of darkness. This doesn't help at all. And it's also making it personal, isn't it? All of that can just be discarded very quickly. The Buddha gave a lovely image of like a drop of water hitting a hot plate. The hot plate is our awareness. These little drips, these completely useless, unhelpful, harmful drips of negativity towards ourselves, just let them hit the hot plate of mindfulness and let them dissolve and move forward. So stay with what's present, which is there's aversion. Simply that. There's aversion, it arises with a cause. Person comes along, situation arises, there's a cause, aversion arises. To know that, to be willing to stay present with that. All the attention should be on the feelings and the process that's going on within, never mind the cause. So we leave the cause alone. We're not interacting with that and making things worse, we're just here, we're home. And then nature takes its course, that's the beautiful thing. If we stay with any situation, any feeling, any mind state, any emotion, any mood, let it be, open the heart, breathe in, breathe out, stay steady, then it arises, it stays for some time, and inevitably it will fade away, and we can watch that cessation, letting go, third noble truth. We can experience it. What is there when aversion has passed? When aversion passes away, what we recognize then is there's nothing but goodwill. There's mettā, there's loving kindness, because this is our natural state. This is the mind that's free from delusion, free from aversion, free from desire also. This is the mind that is unclouded by defilements, by the hindrances. When the mind is free in this way, and we can all experience this, right? We have moments when we're not actually rolling around in suffering. We're not fighting with reality. We're not full of hatred, aversion, or desire, and we're just resting. And there's a well-being there. And it's worth noticing that, because this is what's there when our right intention has come to its fruit and the mind is free from aversion, even for a moment, here and there. We have quite naturally a heart of loving kindness. The other side of non-aversion is, of course, metta. And the Buddha's saying to us that to practice right intention is to practice loving kindness. When we can't practice loving kindness, that's okay. We just notice what's in the way and make that our object of meditation. Not just sitting on the mat, but in everyday life. Make that the object of our attention. What's in the way of my well-being? And the second aspect of right intention is very close, really. Non-cruelty, ahimsa. For most of us, we think, there's no way I'd be cruel. Why would I be cruel? I've gone beyond cruelty. But actually, cruelty can manifest in very subtle ways. Just ignoring people, or just maybe a little irritability coming out that can impact the heart of another. This is how it is for us. It's very hard to be like a god perpetually. The gods dwell in perpetual love and compassion. It's a steady constant for them. There's equanimity, there's joy, love and compassion. The divine abidings are thus a steady stream of clarity from the gods until they're no longer gods, until they have to dive back into the wheel of samsara in a different form. So these are the highest states of mind that we can experience. Yet as human beings, it's a big ask to be perpetually in those states. We can't necessarily expect that. But what we can do is notice the absence again. So the absence of compassion is cruelty. There are so many ways in which we can experience compassion in our lives. When we hear about someone else who's suffering, we hear about the war over here, or the political turmoil over there, the heat waves, the hunger, the lack of water, and more these things are coming for us in the wider field. And how do we feel? Of course we feel compassion. If only these people did not have to suffer in this way. There's that feeling of wishing well and almost trembling with the suffering of others, because we know what that would be like to some extent. Well, we're not experiencing what they're experiencing, but nevertheless, we've all been cold, we've all been thirsty, we've all been hungry, we've all been hot. We've all been afraid for our lives, maybe, at some time or another. We've all felt that tremble, perhaps not, but some of those things we will be familiar with. And so compassion's quite natural in these situations. When somebody has suffered a particular loss or a particular illness, another person comes along with a similar difficulty, a similar challenge, and the heart is just pouring with compassion, because you know what it's like, and one can really resonate with the other. And it may be that we can't fully resonate with another if we haven't had similar experiences, but nevertheless, I think we all know compassion. And this is something the Buddha is encouraging us to cultivate. And we can cultivate it in the same way as love. We can cultivate it through noticing when it's not present. And this is cruelty. Cruelty is the word for the opposite of compassion. So right intention, non-aversion, non-cruelty. And there's a third aspect, which is renunciation. This is right intention for us, setting us in the right direction. We're setting our direction through right intention, non-harm, non-cruelty, and renunciation, letting go. It's really helpful for us to be frugal, to consider what we're using and see if we can use a little bit less, to be ready to let go of our desires for this and that, and just observe the desire before we act upon it. Give it time. Check. Do I really want that? Do I really need that? Can I just pause? And every time we do that, we're allowing ourselves to rest in the okayness of this moment. We don't actually necessarily need to reach out in order to be okay. No, actually, I can sit here and feel desire for this or that and be quite okay. It's very empowering, very peaceful to keep questioning anything and everything that's moving us away from this body, mind, moment, here. So this is really what renunciation is speaking to. It's an invitation to develop contentment, santoti, develop contentment, develop actually a sense of satisfaction. Even within this unsatisfactory realm, we can choose to grow a sense of well-being, satisfaction, peacefulness with what is. And renunciation's an enormous help, and we can play with it, experiment with it, because we all have habits. We're creatures of habit. We can look at our habits, for instance, and see. It's a bit like Kakujapamasutta, the simile of the saw, the story of a very peaceful, serene and lovely lady who had a lovely maid. But the maid decided to test her mistress. Let's see how peaceful and calm she really is. And she managed to test her mistress in such a way that the mistress became very angry and even violent. So you know what? She was just prodding the habits of the mistress. The mistress was used to a certain way, a certain daily routine, certain expectations. The maid does this and then she does that. And then the maid didn't show. And what happened? So, you know, we can work with our habits in a gentle way, in a kind way, but just look at our routines and look at the comforts of the day. It could be the morning coffee that gets you going, or going for a lovely walk. It's all good stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong, most likely, with our habits. We have them because they're good and they work and we have a good life. But it's quite a good experiment to consider maybe letting go of something that's quite pleasant for us. And then sit with that. Because that's when we can really start to notice how attached we might be to various aspects in our lives. And it's quite embarrassing, really. I can have a coffee, that's nice. If I don't, that's fine. Is it? With a lot of tenderness and kindness, we can start to notice. Imagine if everything was taken away and everything was thrown around and we had no longer anything really to rely on in the way of our daily routine, how would we be? And I put it to you that it's really wise to notice the attachments now and be willing to play around with them and have a more flexible approach, because the time's coming. Just like these mountains all around us. There's a wonderful sutta where the Buddha says, imagine there's a mountain in the north and it's rolling towards you at speed. And there's a mountain in the south and it's rolling towards you at speed. There's one in the west and there's one in the east. They're all moving towards you at speed. What are you going to do? The Buddha asked this of King Pasenadi. He was one of his disciples, exactly the same age as the Buddha, wonderful disciple of the Buddha. And King Pasenadi said, I will put all my affairs in order and I will prepare for death. It kind of behooves us to consider this, because maranasati, recollection of death, is something the Buddha recommended we every day contemplate, just as in the chanting. To be able to let go of things now and to work with our attachments through letting them go and seeing how the heart goes with that. That this is a great way to prepare ourselves so that when the time comes we have to let go of everything that we know, then we're ready. I know how to practice. And of course there will be a lot of holding. There will be. But I might have whittled away at the edges there and really freed myself up to a great extent. We can choose to do this. It's putting our spiritual life first and our habits second. It's quite easy to give up things. To give away things is relatively easy compared to giving away the sense of me and mine. We can work with our habits and we can try giving things up, and then what it's pointing us to, what it inexorably leads us to, is looking at this sense of self. You give up your morning coffee, you think, big deal, but actually sitting with that, feeling the addictive craving, and just to feel that wanting energy, you can strip away the coffee and the habit and just come back to the wanting, and it takes you right back to the sense of self, which is what's holding it all together. And so you see that the benefit of giving, the benefit of letting go of things, is that it helps us to begin to see the sense of individuality, the sense of self that's also to be let go of, and we can start working with it right then and there. Isn't it amazing how the very mundane and the very profound Dhamma come right together when we practice renunciation? Renunciation is something to really celebrate. Bring it into our practice. Consider renunciation, remembering that this is an important aspect of right intention.
Andamayang Dhammakataya Sadhukaram Dharamase Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.